In the 1970s, television had a way of bringing the same faces into living rooms week after week, and few were more recognizable than Demon Wilson. At a time when TV shows shaped family routines, his presence became part of the national rhythm. Audiences didn't just watch him, they grew up with him. Wilson wasn't flashy or over the top, but that was exactly his strength. He played characters that felt grounded, relatable, and real, anchoring stories filled with chaos and comedy. Fame arrived quickly, and with it came attention most actors only dream of. Yet even at the height of his success, there was something quietly different about Wilson. He carried himself with restraint, never seeming fully consumed by celebrity. Long before anyone imagined he would step away, he was already questioning what lasting fulfillment truly looked like, beyond applause, ratings, and recognition. Becoming Lamont Sanford Wilson's defining role came when he was cast as Lamont Sanford, the steady, long-suffering son in Sanford and Son. Acting opposite the legendary Red Fox was no small task, especially for a young actor still finding his footing. Yet Wilson held his ground with remarkable poise. His Lamont was the calm center in a storm of comedic exaggeration, providing balance, warmth, and emotional credibility. The chemistry between father and son felt effortless, which is why audiences believed in them. Lamont wasn't just a punchline. He was the heart of the show. Viewers saw themselves in his patience, frustration, and loyalty. That authenticity helped turn the series into a cultural phenomenon, drawing tens of millions of viewers and cementing Wilson's place in television history almost overnight. Living inside a cultural phenomenon. At its peak, Sanford and Son wasn't just popular, it was unavoidable. The show dominated conversations, ratings charts, and pop culture references. For 5 years, Wilson's face appeared in households across America, transcending age, race, and background. Fame of that magnitude brings opportunity, but it also brings pressure. Every performance was scrutinized, every career move anticipated. Wilson navigated this world with professionalism, showing up week after week to deliver consistency in an unpredictable industry. While many actors chase attention, he focused on craft, allowing the work to speak for itself. Behind the scenes, however, the relentless pace and expectations began to weigh on him. Success was undeniable, but it came with sacrifices that few viewers ever saw or understood at the time. Life after the spotlight. When Sanford and Son ended, Wilson didn't disappear. He continued acting, taking on new sitcoms, television roles, and later film projects that showed his range beyond Lamont Sanford. He proved he wasn't defined by a single character, even if that character remained beloved. Still, something within him was shifting. The excitement of Hollywood no longer carried the same pull. While many actors spend their careers trying to stay visible, Wilson began to feel drawn in a different direction. Acting was still meaningful, but it no longer felt central to his purpose. As opportunities came and went, he became more selective, guided less by ambition and more by personal conviction. This quiet transition marked the beginning of a life-changing transformation. A turning point of faith. In the late stages of his acting career, Wilson experienced a profound spiritual awakening that reshaped everything. He spoke openly about feeling unfulfilled despite professional success, describing a sense of emptiness that fame couldn't touch. Rather than ignoring those feelings, he confronted them head-on. Faith became a source of clarity, grounding him in values that felt lasting and true. Wilson didn't treat spirituality as a phase or a public gesture. He committed fully, eventually becoming an ordained minister and dedicating himself to service, reflection, and teaching. This shift wasn't about rejecting his past, but redefining his future. He found peace in a life less visible, guided by meaning rather than applause, and purpose rather than recognition. Walking away by choice. Perhaps the most striking part of Wilson's story is that he stepped away from Hollywood willingly. He turned down roles and opportunities that conflicted with his beliefs, even when they promised financial reward or renewed fame. For nearly 2 decades, he remained largely absent from the screen, focusing instead on ministry, writing, and family life. In an industry built on constant visibility, choosing absence was a radical act. Wilson wasn't afraid of being forgotten because he had already found what mattered most to him. His decision challenged the idea that success must be loud or public. Sometimes he showed success is quiet, personal, and deeply fulfilling in ways no audience can measure. A meaningful return. After many years away, Wilson made a thoughtful return to acting with a small but meaningful role later in life. It wasn't about reclaiming stardom or revisiting past glory. It was about participating in a story that resonated with him personally. This final chapter of his on-screen work felt intentional, almost reflective, as if closing a circle rather than reopening one. He approached it with the same sincerity that defined his earlier performances, reminding audiences of the depth he always brought to his roles. The return wasn't a comeback in the traditional sense, but a quiet affirmation that his relationship with acting had evolved, not disappeared. A legacy beyond television. While Demond Wilson will always be remembered as Lamont Sanford, his legacy extends far beyond a single role. He left behind an example of integrity in an industry often defined by compromise. He showed that it's possible to walk away from fame without regret and to redefine success on your own terms. As an actor, minister, author, and father, Wilson lived a multifaceted life shaped by intention rather than expectation. His story resonates because it speaks to universal questions about purpose, identity, and fulfillment. Generations will continue discovering his work through reruns, but his deeper influence lies in the courage he showed by choosing authenticity over applause. Remembering a life well lived, Demond Wilson's passing marks the end of a remarkable journey, but not the end of his impact. He lived fully, thoughtfully, and with conviction, touching lives both on screen and off. Fans will remember the laughter he helped create, while others will admire the strength it took to step away and live according to his values. In a world that often equates visibility with worth, Wilson reminded us that meaning comes from alignment with who you truly are. His life encourages reflection, not nostalgia alone. He leaves behind not just memories, but a message. It's okay to walk your own path, even when it leads away from the spotlight.